I was arrested in my own backyard for hanging laundry. That's not a metaphor, that's not an exaggeration. I was handcuffed in front of my 6-year-old son because our new HOA president decided my family's clothesline was ruining the neighborhood. And the worst part, she called the police to make sure we learned our lesson. It was supposed to be a perfect Saturday. Sun out, grass freshly cut, the smell of detergent in the air. My wife Jenna and I were outside doing the most boring domestic thing imaginable, hanging clean laundry. Our little boy Sam was inside building a pillow fort, humming to himself. Life felt peaceful for once, until it wasn't. The sound that shattered that peace wasn't thunder or a car crash. It was a voice, a sharp, shrill screech cutting through the morning. "I'm not going to let you people turn this neighborhood into the ghetto with your laundry flags." That's how she greeted us. Not hello, not excuse me, just pure venom wrapped in entitlement. I turned and saw her late 60s stiff blonde helmet hair, a blinding pink pantsuit that made my eyes hurt. And standing right beside her, because of course, was a police officer. He had that stance you only see in bad cop shows, chest puffed out, hand resting on his belt, chin tilted forward like authority was an aura. "This is a respectable neighborhood," she spat. "We have standards here. You can't air your dirty laundry for the whole world to see." For a second I honestly thought it was some kind of prank. I laughed. "Ma'am, with all due respect, it's my backyard. We're just drying clothes. It saves energy, you know, good for the planet." She looked at me like I'd just confessed to setting her house on fire. "It's unsightly. It's lowering property values. It's a public nuisance," the cop interrupted as if she'd given him the script. He turned to me. "Sir, I'm going to have to ask you to take those clothes down." I blinked. A nuisance. These, I gestured to the line shirts, sundresses, a couple of superhero pajamas flapping in the breeze. "You're kidding, right?" He wasn't. His jaw was locked tight. "The lady feels threatened," he said, as if that explained everything. That's when I felt the anger kick in, the slow, hot kind that starts in your stomach and climbs up your throat. Threatened by laundry. Before I could say anything else, Jenna's hand brushed my arm, her silent way of saying, "Let me handle this." I caught the flick of her thumb as she hit record on her phone. I took a breath. "Officer, can you tell me what law I'm breaking?" He hesitated. That pause was everything. Then instead of answering, he squared his shoulders. "Sir, I'm giving you a lawful order. Take the clothes down." "No." My voice was calm, but my heart was hammering. "You can't arrest me for drying shirts." The woman gasped dramatically, clutching her pearls. "He's threatening me." "You see his tone, officer? He's aggressive." I almost laughed at the absurdity, this pastel-colored villain acting like I was a danger to society because I had a rope and clothespins. The cop stepped closer, the smell of stale coffee hitting me. "You're creating a hostile environment," he said. "You're disturbing the peace." That was the moment I realized the situation had tipped. It wasn't about rules, it wasn't about laundry, it was about power. She had it, and I was refusing to bow. Then came the words I'll never forget. "You're under arrest for obstruction of governmental administration and disorderly conduct." He grabbed my wrist. I pulled back purely out of reflex. "Don't touch me," I said. "I've done nothing wrong." He shouted, "He's resisting." And just like that, my life split in two, the before and the after. The cuffs clicked around my wrists, cold metal biting into my skin. Jenna was screaming, "You can't do this!" Sam appeared in the doorway, clutching his stuffed dinosaur, his little face crumpling as he saw his dad being led away. "Daddy," he whispered. That single word hurt more than the handcuffs ever could. The ride to the station was silent except for the police radio crackling. He didn't even look back at me when he said, "All you had to do was take down the laundry. Be a good neighbor." Then with a smirk, "You people always gotta make everything a big deal." "You people?" I didn't respond. What could I say? He'd already decided what I was before he even knew my name. By the time I was processed, fingerprints, mugshot, the whole humiliating checklist, I felt hollow. I wasn't a homeowner or a father anymore. I was a case number. My one phone call was to Jenna. She picked up on the first ring. "Oh my God, are you okay?" "I'm fine," I lied. "They're charging me with obstruction and disorderly conduct." Her voice hardened. "I have everything on video. I'm posting it." By the time I made bail, that video had exploded. Millions of views, thousands of comments. Laundry justice trending. Strangers were furious for us. Some were even hanging their own laundry in solidarity. But there were others too. The ones who said, should have just complied, or there's more to the story. There's always more to the story when people don't want to face the truth. The next morning, Jenna found an envelope taped to our door. The HOA logo smiled up at us like a mockery. It was an official violation notice. According to them, our clothesline was an unapproved permanent structure. We had 14 days to remove it or face daily fines. The letter was dated 2 days before the arrest. She'd planned this. Karen, the HOA president in pink, had built her paper trail before she ever called the cops. That's when we called Ms. Evans, a civil rights attorney, who spoke with the calm fury of someone who'd seen this story too many times. She watched the video, read the letter, and said, "This isn't about laundry. This is about the Fair Housing Act." She used her position in the HOA to discriminate against you. It was the first time someone said the word discriminate out loud, and it hit like a thunderclap. Ms. Evans laid out our plan, file a police complaint, appeal the HOA violation, and tell our story on our terms. So we did. A local reporter named Sarah came to our house. She was gentle, professional, and she let us speak. Jenna talked about fear about being a black mother in America, always wondering if a simple misunderstanding could end in tragedy. When it was my turn, I said, "If we were a white family, do you really think any of this would have happened? Do you think hanging laundry would have brought police to our door?" That night our story led the 10 o'clock news. The footage of my arrest played beside clips of Karen yelling about property values. The contrast was damning. But if the outside world was on our side, the neighborhood wasn't. Some neighbors started leaving quiet signs of support, a pie on the porch, flowers from someone's garden. Others crossed the street to avoid us. And the HOA, they doubled down. We got new violation notices every week. Trash cans visible too long, grass too brown, mailbox not up to aesthetic standard. It was harassment disguised as policy. Every knock on the door made my stomach twist. Every car slowing near our driveway felt like a threat. Even Sam started noticing. The kids he used to play with stopped coming over. "Why doesn't Jimmy's mom like us?" he asked. I didn't have the heart to tell him the truth. One night, a carton of milk hit our siding with a wet smack. Teenagers ran off laughing. I cleaned it off in silence, my hands raw, my heart burning. Jenna stood inside, watching, tears streaking down her face. "Maybe we should move," she whispered. I shook my head. "No, this is our home. We're not leaving." But inside I was cracking. The stress was eating me alive. I couldn't focus at work. Jenna and I started snapping at each other. I spent nights glued to my laptop reading case law, watching civil rights hearings, diving into HOA bylaws like a man possessed. I told myself I was fighting back, but really I was drowning. Then one evening, just as the sun dipped behind the houses, there was a knock at the door. It was Arthur, our elderly neighbor, the quiet man with the rose garden. He looked nervous, holding a worn leather briefcase. "I think you need to see this," he said. Inside the briefcase were decades of HOA records, letters, complaints, meeting notes, all signed by Karen, each one targeting a different outsider, an Asian family who'd placed a small shrine in their yard, a gay couple fined for hanging a rainbow flag, a family with a disabled child punished for painting their ramp the wrong color. Arthur looked ashamed. "She's been doing this for years. We all knew. We just didn't stop her. But what she did to you, calling the police, that was too far." He pushed the briefcase toward me. "These are copies. Give them to your lawyer. I'll testify." I could barely speak. For weeks I'd felt like I was losing my mind, but here was proof solid, undeniable, that we weren't crazy, that this was bigger than us. Ms. Evans' eyes lit up when she saw the files. "This is gold," she said. "This proves a pattern. We're going after the HOA, the board, and the city police department. This isn't a complaint anymore, it's a civil rights case." That was the moment everything shifted. The fear melted into something sharper. Purpose. The next HOA meeting was packed. Half the neighborhood showed up, some glaring, others curious. Karen sat at the front, smug as ever, gavel in hand. When I stood up, the room went dead quiet. I played the video. Her voice filled the speakers, screeching about laundry flags and certain people. I held up the violation letter with her signature. Then I showed Arthur's documents, decades of proof. Faces turned. Whispers rippled through the room. One board member, an older woman, began to cry. She told us those families were breaking rules, she said. I didn't know. Karen's face went pale. This is slander, she shrieked. I was enforcing standards. No, I said, steady now. You were enforcing hate. She stood up, trembling with rage, grabbed her purse, and stormed out, her pink suit flashing like a warning light as the door slammed behind her. That was the last time she ever presided over a meeting. Within days, she resigned for personal reasons. The local paper picked up the story. The HOA faced a federal investigation. The police officer who arrested me was suspended pending review. Justice didn't come with fireworks. It came quietly, like a storm passing. One day I looked out at our backyard, the same patch of grass where it all began, and saw our clothesline swaying gently in the breeze again. For the first time, it wasn't just a line for drying laundry. It was a banner, a symbol, proof that we hadn't been silenced. I stood there, hands still scarred from those cuffs, heart still healing, and thought funny how something as simple as a rope and a few clothespins could expose everything rotten hiding behind a neighborhood's standards. Because sometimes hanging your laundry out to dry is the only way to show the world what's really dirty.